right?
Yes.
Limitless possibility is love.
Exactly.
And with that, we're going to bring in the loving Helena so she can start sharing her journey and her wisdom with you. So, Helena, we're going to hit this button.
Namaste.
There she is. Hello, beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry if my camera just shook.
I'm very, very blessed and grateful and honored to share. Thank you.
Oh, that's how we feel.
It's so nice to see you.
It's so beautiful to see you.
And feel the love, the joy you are sharing with the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Helena. And thank you for sharing your beautiful smile, as always.
Oh.
Well, if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to just share with the community. You've been a part of Suivera since the start. You were with us from the beginning and have helped nurture this community since the beginning. So if you don't mind sharing with those who are here, who you are, what you bring to the world through you, but also what you've gone through to get to this point.
Oh, thank you. Who I am, I see myself as a vessel. The Spirit guides me. And wherever I go with the flow, wherever I need to go. Different way, I am aware that I am consciousness. I am not this body. I am not the mind. I am not emotions. So I am in the flow for the last like almost 10 years. And I feel so blessed. But of course, I am where I am right now because of all the challenges, all the terrifying events I went through. And to be honest, when I was thinking about the story, I'm like, oh, I even don't remember my story. I needed to write down because I didn't share the story for the last probably like 20 years. So, of course, I'm not my story, but I can share how I get here where I am today, yes?
Yes, exactly.
So, I was born and grew up in a little country in Europe, Lithuania. In a little village, in a big family. And my dad was abusive. My mom, my siblings. So until I left my home, constantly, I live in fear, anxiety, and actually I didn't know anything better. So I couldn't imagine different life because that was my everyday life. Poor, of course, we never was starving, and when I started to count in how many of those big trauma happened in my life, that was like 8 big traumatic events. Terrifying, shocking. And I know it's not about the traumas, it's about how I responded, what decision I made about the world, about myself, yes, I guess this is the most important. So my first traumatic event happened when I was 2 years old. And that was probably which affected my life the most. So when I was 2 years old, my sister was 6 years old. She wanted to take me to the little river, and there was some swamp, which I get into, to the head, and she could not take me out. So I was left alone. She ran home for help, and in a few minutes, my mom came because I was stuck in, yes?
Yeah, you were trapped.
I was trapped until my head, and of course I don't remember that event, But I'm guessing that I left my body for a while. So my mom pulled me out. And then, of course, she was mad at me and my sister. This is what my sister and my mom said, yes? And this is so from that event on, of course, 2 years old girl, how she felt. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Like almost died, trapped, hopeless, scared. And I don't know now, can I talk about how it affected my life, or should I talk about our?
Yes, talk about
please.
that. How did
Okay.
that
So that event created, because 2 years old, yes, girl. So I didn't have any filters. A mind wasn't developed yet, yes? So that experience went and was imprinted in my body, in every cell of my body. And that experience created unconscious patterns and psychosomatic pains through all my life. And I could not understand why doctors cannot find anything. Everything is okay with me, but I have this horrible pain. And by the way, in the past, I had many experiences that I was dying, included 2 near-death experiences, which I left the body. So the patterns number 1 created from that experience was that I was dying and dying. Like, for example, I ate some food, I lost consciousness, okay? So it's like from nowhere, or doctors gives me, prescribes me medicine, I take medicine and I lose consciousness. And that was happening many, many times in my life, okay? So this is number 1. Number 2, the patterns of being powerless, hopelessness everywhere, in relationship, especially in relationship, of course, and struggling, yeah? There's being stuck. So for me, that relationship, every time I was in a relationship, it looks like a swamp. I was trapped in that swamp as a little girl. Now, about psychosomatic pain. So starting probably from 25 years old, yeah? So that experience was dormant until I was 25 years old. And then I started to have those migraines, horrible migraines that I would be once a month in the hospital. Then sciatic nerve, neuralgia, back pain, broken back. I broke my back in 41. So I could not see that all puzzle until I cleared all trauma, which was on the top of this experience. When I cleared all of them, then I now I can see. And when I realized those patterns, I brought them to conscious mind, and thanks God, I had, some practices that I transformed that energy, that condensed energy, which was creating more and more similar situations. So this is 1.
Thank you for sharing that.
So beautiful.
It's I know it's not easy. We both have had traumas in our past that showed up later in our lives, and we didn't realize how much of an effect and impact it made on our decisions, on our experiences, and how it compounds. And so I know it's not easy to share something like that. So thank you for being open and vulnerable and being willing to share this. It means a lot to us.
And even the tracing to the physical pain.
Yeah.
So often we don't give credit to how much it creates the physical impact.
Right.
So that's a beautiful thing to share.
That was the deepest one. Then I had many, many more. Can I share more?
Oh, yes, please. I think it's incredibly helpful.
Okay, so at 19, the sexual maniac kidnapped me and hold me all night in his place.
Oh my gosh, Helena.
And I get frozen. What I was doing, I was only one thing. I was surrendering, asking God for help, because I was hopeless. Yeah, the patterns of being totally 100% hopeless and being stuck again. Yes.
Yeah.
And that I was so scared that I forget about that experience. I didn't remember for 30 years. Can you believe that? That was so terrifying, so shocking, that for 30 years I even didn't remember that this happened to me. Next one. After 4 years later, so I get married, and that was a blessing. I got married to my beloved, and we love and adore each other. And we had daughter, 11 months old, when my husband, my beloved, crashed with airplane. Again, I don't know how I survived back then, because I was losing consciousness, I remember, all the time. Like, the doctor was there, because like I could not accept that. I could not believe that happened. So I wasn't, because of losing consciousness constantly, I wasn't able to feel those emotions. So for a while, I was like a zombie. I closed my heart because there was so much pain that of course, I wasn't aware of that. I could not feel anything. And then later, because I thought that, because I was so happy those 2 years in my life, and those was the best years in my life back then, yes? So I thought that, I want to be married again. So I remarried after 2 years. Then for 17 years, I was suffering. Of course, not being aware again that my heart was closed. Now, after 17 years of that misery and being married, I divorced and I broke my back. The same week. And actually, this was first opening, the first blessing. Because of my broken back, I was laying for 2 months. I could not walk, yeah? But something happened that, because doctors said that I cannot dance, I cannot, I will need to twice a year to be in the hospital for my health. So I could not accept that, and I started to look for some holistic healing. And this is how I found actually the tough energy. So there's some opening happened in my mind because of that what happened. Okay, later, few years later, we won green card, and we moved to United States, to country where everybody dreams to live, to be here. And after we moved here, I get to relationship, and again I was on a roller coaster. And this is what helped me now at that time to find a therapist, which opened my heart. And that was another blessing, second blessing, because something is wrong with me, I guess. First he went, and then he said, you need to go to that therapist. So the therapist was pure love and light. And when he touched my heart, I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And he said, I just evoke love in you. I just open your heart. So that was shift. I still had a lot of emotions. Now, like a few years later, I had near-death experience. And that was another blessing, because when I left my body and I was watching, that was in the hospital, an emergency room. So I had so many pains when I sat there. So that this time again, I had horrible pain that they took me to the emergency, and in emergency, I left the body. I left the body and I experienced that state of nirvana, joy, bliss, peace. It's like I didn't want to go back to the body. Then somehow I get back to the body. And I realized after that, I am not this body. I am that which was left the body, then I get back to the body. I even talk to the body, like I flew to the body and I talked to the body. And that expanded my consciousness. And that was, I guess, the biggest opening, the biggest shift in my life. And from that moment on, I started to work. I started to play singing bowls, sound healing. So that helped me a lot from the surface to release the stress, some emotions. But I still had psychosomatic, those pains. I still could not create happy, loving relationship until I found a teacher, master, who shared practices, sadhanas, to transform those emotional charges, to transform that inner pain to love and light. And when I transform all those charges, that condensed energy, more and more I feel love, joy. It's like, for me, just being alive is like, this is the biggest gift. Anything is not, secondary. So what I realize, that the primary is within. The state, inner state, is the most important. What is outside is always secondary. Now I see absolutely clearly that the world around me is a reflection of the world within me. So I feel blessed. Absolutely. Being alive and sharing whatever comes through me. Thank you.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
It's definitely profound wisdom.
Any questions?
Well, I just want to say thank you again for sharing that. When it comes to change, that's kind of what we are, as one of our focuses for today. That understanding, that realization that you've had through all of these ups and downs in life, where you're realizing that it's not from outside of yourself to the internal, but the internal to the external. When we're going through changes, it's hard not to feel like the external is happening to the internal. And then we get caught up in that, and then we get lost in that. And that's where we start to feel like everything's happening to us or and against us. But when we can shift that, as you're saying, and have that realization that it starts and stems from within, that all the love, the joy, the bliss, the peace, it all happens from the internal. And when we can recognize that it's already within us, like you're sharing, then we can breathe that out to the external experience. And that can help us create a constant in terms of us being the constant no matter what is changing around us. And that's the true power that we have. And so thank you for sharing such depth of experience and wisdom to our loving community. It means a lot.
Thank you. I feel like many people still don't understand that love, joy, peace is within us, but it's covered up with those feelings, with emotions. And because of that, what we need to do, we need to uncover nothing, expand consciousness, see, and transform that what covers love, joy, and peace, correct? Not look over there. Yes, thank you. Very beautiful.
And just to remind anybody who's watching right now, if you have questions for Helena, feel free to type them or just let us know. And if you're watching afterward, we can provide a way, we'll post it down below for you to get a hold of Helena directly through her website or directly through other mediums that Helena shares. And you can ask her. She's a member of our community. And again, that is what we do here. We hold each other up and we support each other and share. So Helena has provided a couple of ways here on Facebook through her website to get a hold of her after, so she can provide tools that she's used. So thank you for being willing to do that, Helena. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate, I am honored.
We're so honored. I learned things about you today, and I know we've spent a good deal of time together. When I was going through a transition myself, you provided me space. You allowed me to stay in your beautiful home. You provided friendship and care. And again, we all navigate change in our lives. It's the choices we make as we're going through that change. Do we hold a loving space? Do we look for how we can grow within that? Do we take the time to look at where we're storing that energy in our bodies? As you pointed out, like, I didn't realize how much I was storing the painful memories in my personal body until I went in for body work. And I was like, whoa, I didn't have an injury there. Why is it painful there? And then, especially for me in my hips, I stored a lot of pain in my hips, and I had to realize, like, that's where I was carrying I had suppressed all of my emotions so far down that's where I was carrying them. And when we take that time to really get in touch with ourselves and say, all right, where am I carrying this? And what am I going to do within to nurture myself energetically, physically, mentally, spiritually, so that I can be the reflection that you are talking about out to the world? And how can I lean on the people that I care about and that care about me, like you did for me during that time of transition, and hold that light in that space, because I know I can trust you and that you would be there for me. It means a lot.
Oh, honey, that was very little thing. You know, how I feel now, the more we hold the presence, we are able to be present, the more we connected. And we hold that space of love, pure love. The healing happens, transformation happens. Yeah. But somehow we need, I guess, this inspiration, somebody to inspire. Like for me, my therapist was inspiration. Like when I saw him, I decided, like, okay, I want to be like him, pure love and light. That's it. And when we get inspired, and that inspiration comes from the soul, correct? It's not from the mind. So then that becomes our what? preference. And with this preference that, okay, I am love, I am light, I will do the work to uncover that. So I can be and spread that. And share that with others.
Yeah. And through that process, remind others what's possible and what's within them. And then it's like Amber always says, the light that lights other lights. It's the candle effect.
Oh yeah. And you know what? To be honest, like when I met Amber you for the first time, and you came to my meditations, yeah? Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I was thinking like, I don't know if I called you angel, but I felt the presence of angel, like she's an angel. And I'm like, wow, she joined us. And this is how I feel, like your kindness, your gentleness, your softness, your purity. It's like, I honor that. I admire that. And seeing both of you in this beautiful, loving relationship, it's like your inspiration was for me. And you are. And you know, I am now, I feel blessed being in loving relationship as well. But you inspire me. So thank you. I'm so grateful in many ways.
Thank you. Well, love is reciprocated, and again, that is our flow. It is love here. It is built on love. And it's amazing what we call it big L love, right? Like the whole flow of love is all about. So it's a gift. So as we're wrapping up here, is there anything else you would like to share with our community? Any parting words of wisdom around like change and navigating change in a way that opens the heart? Because again, we're very focused on open heart, open mind, right?
What I would say, accept whatever is, and between any challenges, there is divine purpose. All challenges are given to us for grow. I wouldn't grow. I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have those all challenges in the past. So, between every challenge, there is divine purpose, which in the present moment, usually we don't see that. But when we know, that later we can see that that challenge was a blessing. May we all be fine and be and hold peace, love, and joy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful words.
Beautiful. And amazing Suivera community, as you watch this now or as it is out throughout the month, if you, like Helena, have a story you would like to share with the community or tools, or you're just seeking advice, please feel free to join us the first Thursday of the month. It is at noon Pacific time. We will be here, happy to receive the story. Our community is always grateful, and we love, love, love hearing from the community. And Helena, thank you so much for just being so vulnerable and transparent and open and sharing your heart. It makes a profound impact.
It does. Love sees love. Thank you for being love.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Austin. Thank you for being that divine couple as well and inspiring our world. Thank you.
Bye for now. Bye for now.